Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for October the 5th, 2010. Now our first position for tonight is going to be in the wheat futures contracts. You can see here that I have it on the continuous, so you can make your adjustments for whatever particular month that you're trading. Now what I want to point out here is what we're looking to do in this particular case is sell these wheat contracts. We have the triple EMA cross that is very recent, only about 3 or 4 days old. Looks like we're going to get into hopefully a trending move here. Now I want to point out that I have this line of support that I've drawn right along this bottom here that comes in at the 650 level. We've closed just below that at 647. Critical levels to point out are 690, 678, and 658. So these prices, depending whether you're trading in the cash or the futures markets, they're roughly about the same. The main thing is we're looking for a slight move higher to set those shorts. Now for tomorrow, I suspect that 658 is going to be the level that we would want to watch. Our predicted MACD, we can see that our trigger is just getting ready to cross below the zero line. We're coming in on our predicted true strength indicator. We're coming in, just hit that overbought level, and we're moving lower, getting towards that zero line. But again, everything looks good here for potentially a trending move on these wheat contracts. So let's go in now and have a look at the daily report and see what we have there. Now looking at the daily report here from Vantage Point, we can see that we have the neural indexes down. We have our predicted high for tomorrow at 659 and our low for 637. I suspect that at 659, looking at that 3-day predicted moving average from Vantage Point, that the 659 area is a very good entry point, and stops in this particular case I think we should have about the 710, 720 area just to be safe. Now again, looking at this chart, we're looking at a number of different indicators from Vantage Point here to again get our price. Now what I want to point out here is I'm also going to go in, have a look at some of the other indicators. What we want to look at in this particular case is the crossovers on an individual basis. So by looking at this, you can see that the short-term crossover has crossed over about a week ago. Now our medium-term crossover, we're going to hit apply on this also just to make sure that everything is lining up okay. Medium-term crossover, same thing about a week ago, so we can see a trending move building here. Now what I also want to do is hit the long-term crossover, so all three of the main crossovers from Vantage Point all pointing lower on the wheat contracts, and of course the triple EMA crossover also pointing lower. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the predicted MACD and the predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point, are two very good indicators. Now I'm going to switch those out and put on the predicted MACD and the predicted stochastics and see what those other two indicators see. Now what I want to point out to everybody here is that again the predicted stochastics overreacting to this move, it's already hitting an oversold signal. Predicted RSI, same thing, heavily into oversold territory. I believe that these two indicators are not anywhere near as accurate as what the predicted MACD and the predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point are. So again, these two are showing, this is why conventional overbought and oversold signals are not always necessarily the best two indicators to use. We want to make sure we use all of the indicators available and preferably stick with the predicted true strength indicator and the predicted MACD before looking at the predicted stochastic and the predicted RSI, because again they tend to overreact to very sharp market moves. Now that's our first position for tonight. Our second position, we're going to go into the Forex market. Now looking at the Forex market here, we're going to again revisit the British pound US dollar. We can see that we have critical support 156.90, 157.68, and 158.04 with a close of 158.30. We have our predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point approaching the overbought level, but that we have no cross on the trigger. Predicted MACD from Vantage Point also moving along quite nicely. Our predicted medium and long-term differences, you can see I'm using that indicator on this particular currency pair. Somewhat downward pointing, but still everything looks good here. Now we can see that we have again 156.90 is our key level of support. What we're going to do is we're going to go in, review all three of our crossovers to see what's happening here. Now looking at our short-term crossover, we can see that we've just crossed back to the upside. We had a little cross to the downside last week in that volatility, but again the medium and the long-term crossovers from Vantage Point remained higher. So this short-term crossover is just just going back up to the upside. We're going to again look at the medium-term crossover from Vantage Point. Everything looks good there. We have no crossover to the downside whatsoever. Now our third crossover, again, critical crossover here is the long-term crossover from Vantage Point. So you can see how I'm running through all of my three major crossovers and heavily biased towards that triple EMA cross, looking for that confirmation that this trend is going to continue. Now again, our other indicators are all still supportive of this move. The British pound has done fairly well on a number of the different cross pairs, so we're going to continue to stay with this trade. And once we've identified the direction in which we want to trade, we're now going to go in and have a look at the daily report from Vantage Point and see what we have for a predicted high and predicted low, and where are potential points of interest for us. Now looking at this, we can see that our high tomorrow is 159.04. Our low for tomorrow is 157.40. So this trade is actually setting up very nicely. 157.40 is the predicted low of the day. We're now going to go back into that chart and have a look and see if it lines up with these predicted moving averages. So we can see that it runs closer to this 157.68. So for tomorrow, we're going to be looking for a pullback between 157.68 and the 157.40 area to get into our long position, and our stops are going to be in about the 156.40, 156.50 range. I like to use about 100 pip stop on these currency pairs just to give it that room to allow the trade to develop. So everything looks good here for the pound dollar. Again, we have further US dollar weakness. Nothing has really changed there. Gaining a little bit of ground against the euro today and a couple of the other currencies, but mostly the downtrend on the US dollar is still intact, and of course the British pound plays a significant role in that US dollar index. So those are our two positions for October the 5th, 2010. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.